Peace, love, and prosperity, family. I hope all has been well. This is a word that is related to kingdom marriage. Like I told you all, I will be dropping the words related to kingdom marriages as I receive them. So before I get into this, first of all, let me say what this is about. Your spouse, your future spouse, will have a similar past to you. Okay. And when I talk about kingdom spouses, I use that word specifically because kingdom spouse refers to purposeful marriages. You know, we live in a generation where we've seen many marriages based on opportunistic ideas or ideals or opportunistic people, or just thinking, well, because of the circumstance we might as well tie the knot. But kingdom marriages are more based in purpose. So these are marriages that are coming together where both people that are involved have clear purposes in God, and they're brought together to be able to face the challenges that they're going to face as a result of walking in their purpose together, right? And not alone. So anyways, I wanted to give this word. I'm really excited to give this message. I actually received this like a week ago. So your future spouse is going to have a very similar past to you. And what I mean by this, it doesn't necessarily mean that you all have had to go through exactly the same thing. You know, you could have went through A growing up as a child, and this person went through F growing up as a child, right? But even though it's two different experiences, you all had like a very similar a result of how it impacted you, right? Because some of us, even many of us, probably in past relationships, past marriages, or situations where we were really close with a person, we might have attracted people who actually did go through things that were similar to what we went through, but everybody is not affected by trauma in the same way. You know, one person might be abused and they turn out to be completely opposite of that. They make sure that their life is everything contrary to what they grew up, the type of abuse they grew up witnessing or experiencing. And then you have another person who went through that same type of abuse, but when they grow older, they end up also perpetuating the cycle of abuse on others. So some of us have experienced that. You know, we're not going to even get into talking about narcissists. Many of us have been affected, especially if you consider yourself as an empath. And I know many people who are on Pretty Boss TV definitely would consider yourself empathic. That's just part of, you know, we definitely have dealt with our fair share of narcissists, even if it was like since childhood, somebody, a parent, or you know, a close sibling or relative. So anyways, the person who is going to come into your life is going to be somebody who understands you. And that's the point of this word, because sometimes you can unite with people, you can come into contact with people, and no matter how much you try to explain yourself, right? Or let that person into your mind or into your heart, they just really don't understand you. You know, they don't have the same perception or awareness that you do at all. You also have to remember that we live in a world where, even though people don't talk about it, mental health awareness is something that needs to be really key, right? There are so many people who deal with different mental health disorders, different personality disorders, and it's not like how they make it look on the movies. So sometimes you might not see somebody, you know, doing like movie stereotypical things of like how a psychopath will move, or a narcissist, or a person with multiple personality disorders. But in everyday life, we encounter people with a lot of these disorders, and you just will have no idea because it's not like how the movies paint it out to be. So there's been many of you, family, that have been in relationships, and it doesn't just have to deal with romance, but specifically this is for romance. But remember, all of our lives kind of coincide. So even if you, this is a word for romance, you might have had business relationships where you dealt with certain types of the same types of characters, or certain types of friendships that is the same type of energy, family, whatever, same type of energy, same type of characters. So this is going to be a key piece for you to realize whether the person who you're dealing with is somebody who is sent as a possible life partner or kingdom spouse towards you. You're not going to be confused. You're not going to feel like you're constantly alone. Family, some of us feel alone, and I know some of you might be a certain age and have never been in a long-term relationship or a marriage or a live-in relationship. But to me, the what's worse than being alone is being in a relationship. And I know some of y'all can finish my sentence in the comments, okay? Being in a relationship and feeling alone. Like, I'd literally rather be alone. Like, that's where you get that saying, I could do bad by myself. Like, I'd rather be alone than be in a relationship and feel alone. That's one of the worst things. And that's definitely not a marriage situation that I wish on anyone. So this is key because sometimes people can have a lot of the other components. A person might be where they need to be physically, financially, or whatever the things might be for you. Y'all might have some of the same objectives and goals, but the level of apathy, the level of empathy and emotional availability that a person has, especially towards us, that's important, family. There's going to be, there's millions of people who could be great candidates for many different reasons in relationships, right? Many of us have people that could be several pretty good potential partners. But the person who God is bringing in to be your kingdom spouse is somebody who's literally going to feel like your peace. It's going to be somebody who gets you in a way that nobody you've ever met has gotten you before. I feel like some of us have dealt with those relationships. It could even be close, like you have a parent or you have a sibling or somebody that's close to you that you're like, that song, "If you don't know me by now, you will never, ever, ever know me." Ooh. You'll never know me, right? So some of us have definitely experienced those relationships where it's like, look, if you don't know me by now, you'll never know me. The person who is meant to be your kingdom spouse is going to be completely opposite of that. This is going to be a person who truly like gets you. And of course, y'all are going to have different, sometimes there is going to be misunderstandings or miscommunication, but it's not going to be your average. Like thank you, Holy Spirit. Like, you ever been in a relationship, and again, it could be any type of relationship. It doesn't have to be romantic. And it's like the person who you're dealing with, like, y'all might be on the same page 20% of the time, but 80% of the time it's a misunderstanding. Like, you're always having to constantly explain yourself, or y'all are constantly just having to, like, okay, let's communicate about this. Family, that's not what's coming in for us as far as our kingdom spouses. Let me say something about this. Marriage is not perfect, right? Even with these relationships coming in, it's not that our kingdom spouses are going to be perfect, but a lot of the opposition that we face, because when you're married, when you're a couple, you're going to face opposition, especially in marriage. But the difference between these kingdom spouse relationships is that the conflict isn't going to be coming from inside the house. The conflict is going to be external. The challenges are going to be external. You and your kingdom spouse are going to be on the same page. It's like y'all are really going to have a similar heart. Like I said, even if you didn't go through exactly the same thing, it affected you all in the same way. So you have a similar way of thinking. You have a similar way of relating and understanding, right, and perceiving life. So this is going to be a person who literally comes and aids in your peace. This is going to be a person who you all heal each other in your healing process. We always hear people, oh, you have to be healed. You got to be perfect. When you don't need nobody or want nobody or nobody, then this person will come. But I really would agree to disagree with that. First of all, healing, which I prefer to call growth, because healing is an eternal process, just as growing is an eternal process. So I replaced the word healing in my life with growth, right? And certain experiences that we go through allow us to grow in certain ways, whether it's just emotionally, mentally, physically, whatever may have you. But a lot of the relationships that we've been through in the past, it's like they just added to the trauma, right? It's like you attracted the same trauma that you experienced growing up. But there are certain things that we go through, family, especially when you deal with certain trauma from childhood. One of the things that programs our subconscious mind, is trauma. So some of us have been affected and impacted since childhood, and we just have a certain way of perceiving. This person is going to come in. It's like, of course, we've been working on healing ourselves, but the person who we're being brought together with, we're also going to be aiding each other in each other's healing process. It's like, you're going to be able to teach this person how. I don't want to say teach, like, it's not like we're going to be teaching each other anything in like a direct way, but it's just going to be mutual. It's going to be like, man, like, being with this person, I'm learning how to, like, trust again, or trust for the first time, or I'm learning how to open up, or I'm learning how to be vulnerable, or express myself in certain ways, right? So it's like both of you are going to aid to healing each other, a very significant part of your healing process. And it's not just something that is just going to be for a season. We're talking about lifelong partnerships, family. Many adults, many of us are living today with trauma that we experienced when we were 6, 7, 5, 3, 4 years old, right? And even with all these years in the past, we're still dealing with that. So trauma and healing and different forms of abuse that many of us have went through in life, that's not something that just heals overnight. You know, everybody isn't born into the same circumstances. Everybody doesn't have the same experiences, and that's okay. But God is bringing people into our lives who have those same similar experiences, to where now we'll be able together to grow and evolve and move past certain points where we feel like we've been stagnant or we've been going in circles. So that's what's coming in. So again, this is an important message, because if you find yourself dating in this season, family, and don't be afraid to date. Some of you might not be called to that. Follow how you are. But you know, some of you who are dating and meeting people and just at least putting yourselves in positions, or you know that you're able to meet other people. The take home message from this is, if you find yourself in a situation with a person where it's like, on a deep level they don't really understand you, on a deep level they're not able to empathize with you, or they're not able to emotionally connect, or even put themselves in your shoes and just be there. And you can feel when a person feels you. Like, sometimes it's not even about a person, oh, this is what you should do, or giving you the answer. Like, you can feel when a person genuinely is like there with you and feels you. You see what I'm trying to say? And sometimes that's all we need. In this life, we're not meant to just be alone, family. If we were meant to be alone, then we would have been born alone, and that would have been it. I would be here recording this video, talking to no one, and probably not even recording this video, because I don't know if I would have had the downloads required to create cell phone technology. Wouldn't have needed it, right? So we're definitely not meant to be alone. Many of us have been going through seasons of aloneness, and even if it's like in your physical life, you've always had people around, but you might have feel lonely. You might feel like you've been an outcast, like you just haven't had people who literally resonate or understand you as a person. The person who's coming in for you, that's going to be your common ground. The obstacles, y'all are not going to be fighting each other. You know, they say a house divided cannot stand. You are not going to be fighting your spouse. Y'all are not going to have like conflicting beliefs or conflicting ideals or morals, ethics, and values, and visions for yourself and for your life. Those things, that the things that are really that are at the root of a foundation, the important parts of whatever you're building, y'all are going to be on the same page with that. And the challenges that you're going to face are going to be external challenges that you face as a result of walking your life purpose. These kingdom marriages that are coming together, family, you have no idea the type of mountains that you and your kingdom spouse are going to be able to move together. So of course, naturally, there's going to be forces that try to prevent, right? That tries to push back on these changes that's coming. We're part of the new heaven being created on earth. And there's going to be a lot of pushback, but again, you're not going to be fighting the person. It's not like you're going to feel like you're at home fighting your spouse and then fighting when you get out here in the world. No, those are not the relationships that are coming together. So if you're dealing with somebody where there's constant miscommunication and misunderstanding, I want to say this too. Even if you have people in your life like friends or family or people that you talk to on a regular basis where it's like you're always having to explain yourself to this person, I want to say, if you have to speak to this person for whatever reason, just don't explain yourself. Like, just let them have it. Don't try to debate. Don't try to communicate. Just let them have it. Don't put yourself in that defensive energy, right? Because what's coming in for you, you're not going to have to deal. You're not going to have that. So it's like making sure that you clear of those people that brings that energy. Again, if you can't cut a person off, if it is somebody that you can move away from, that you don't need to have a constant relationship with, just cut those type of people out, because we have something much more harmonious coming in that is going to be in alignment with us and with our purpose in God. Okay, so your kingdom spouse is going to have a similar past to you. They're going to feel like your peace family. I'm going to end with this. You know how when you on vacation, you can go on a nice vacation and you could be in a bed and it feels so good. It's like, oh, this feels good. It's comfortable or whatever. But when you get home and you get in your own bed, it's nothing like being in your own bed. That's what your kingdom spouse is going to feel like to you, like on a spiritual, emotional, and even definitely physical level, but more spiritually and emotionally. They're going to feel like very familiar. They're going to feel like home, right? So I love you all so much. I talk to y'all soon. Y'all come join us on patreon.com/prettybossTV. And yes, I'm wearing some new PD exclusive. I can't wait for y'all to see this outfit. I have a feeling that this isn't going to last long as soon as I drop it on the fight site. Photo shoot's going down today. So that's coming up. So y'all, pbexclusive.com, subscribe to the newsletter. Shout out to everybody who's been supporting Kingdom Business. I love y'all. Talk to y'all soon. Y'all willing? Peace.